Stateless basically means there is no country in the world that considers you a citizen. Where when you have a problem, when you're in trouble, there's no one you can go to tell them, oh, help me, I have a problem. You have no real passport. You only have a travel document that makes it easy for you to travel, but that's only on paper. Like, the reality is something else. Because having a travel document would mean, especially when you are registered in the UN as a refugee, that means whichever country you go to, you can, if you decide to apply for asylum, this country cannot send you back. Where do they send you back? Like, usually they send people back to their homeland, to the country that says, oh, these are my citizens. This is my folk, my people. But for us, where do they send us back? My name is Farah. A lot of people pronounce it wrong, like Farah or Farah here in Germany, but it's Farah. I was born in Syria, in Damascus, but my family comes originally from Palestine. Both of my parents were also born in Syria. It's my grandparent, he was the one who came from Palestine to Syria. It was in 1948. Back then they were told it's just like for 2 weeks, but these 2 weeks became years. And now we're counting 74 years. When my grandparent, he arrived there, he was registered as a refugee. And at that time, Syria hosted a lot of refugees from Palestine, among other countries like Jordan, Lebanon. And these countries, they started receiving like really funds and money from the UN for hosting these refugees. They tell us that Syria is fighting for the rights of the Palestinian people. So when the Syrian government gives the nationality to the Palestinian people, they have no Palestinians left in the country, which means they have no one left to fight for. Like when they say, we're fighting for the Palestinian rights, but there are no Palestinians, they're all Syrian by now. The first time I was a refugee, it wasn't my choice, you know? We were forced to leave the country, or my granddad, he was forced to leave the country Palestine. And in Syria, it was not a choice. Somehow, they had to apply for, like, to become refugees. And it's something that has been stuck with me my whole life. And I didn't want to do it again when I actually had the chance to start from the beginning. But being a refugee is not really nice. It's because you have this stamp on your forehead wherever you go. And especially in countries in Europe. Because that would mean, okay, you're receiving a lot of funds, you're receiving money, and this money comes from the taxes of other people. So you're automatically seen, so you're the one who's taking up all our money, like our tax money. And I don't want to have that. And I was already here. Like, why I could have my residence permit as a student. So I was like, good, great. Basically, in most of the formulas I had to fill, I don't exist. The good thing is that in the immigration office, they actually have a category for us, for the Palestinian refugees from 1948. And they have like all these symbols. So regarding that, we exist, but it's every time the trouble to explain to any institute, like for the for the banks. The people, they don't know what stateless really mean. You have to tell them the whole story from the very beginning, and explain why you don't have a nationality, or why do you have these symbols instead of a nationality. But it's still, at least you're talking to a person. The hardest part sometimes is when you're just filling something online. Like, who do you talk to? It's just options, and you have to pick one of that. But no options among these options fits to my situation. And I'm not a Palestinian. Like, I don't have the paper that actually says I'm a Palestinian citizen. I'm not a Syrian citizen. And also a refugee. Sometimes it is understood that you are a refugee here, that I actively applied to be a refugee in Germany, which is also not true. I'm just stateless, but that doesn't sound to exist. And yeah, so I have to send sometimes email to explain everything. Also for the university, it's something that they don't really know about when applying for scholarships. I have to put a nationality, but again, I cannot find it. And yeah, so it's sometimes I think I should record the story like on a like a CD, and every time I'm asked this question, I'm like, so I don't have to repeat it, you know. Yeah, I was telling you actually about this wall.
Yeah.
Why it was a turning point, because when I moved to Germany, it was somehow like I came here for a reason, but I didn't really think about, am I going to feel this do I feel like I belong here? I didn't really think about that. I was like, okay, I'm going there for my studying, and that was the like the goal. And also when I left Syria, I was all the time thinking, where do I belong? Where is my home? Because especially in the last few years in Syria, it was yeah, we were suddenly the outsiders because of all the political problems. At some point, they started hating the Palestinians, like the people, you know? And that's why, out of the blue, we felt, or at least me, I felt like, it's suddenly not my home, which is crazy because it's the only place I was born there. I was raised there, so it's the only thing I know. And I always thought I would feel home only when I somehow end up in Palestine, like for a miracle or for any reason. So that's why during this time when I moved to Germany, I didn't really think about that, because for me it was like, okay, home is when I end up in Palestine. And then things started to change when I was here. I started meeting people, and I met some people who made me feel home, like the person themselves. And but then, of course, just like life, they at some point they left, you know. And then this feeling of homelessness started again, which was not nice. And I started working on myself, like to find this peace within me. And when I started putting these pictures, when I started making this place, like adding these part of my souls in the place, like the pictures, some stuff here, like how, like from Damascus, it started to feel, okay, I have parts of my soul in this room. And that's when it started to feel home. And it's crazy. sometimes how you just when you put little touches, it changes the way you feel about a place, and it just gives you this peacefulness, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is my brother and my sister. Um, this is actually crazy because when I left them, my sister, she was 14, and my brother, he was just a freshman at the university. And this was one of the pictures when I received it. I was like, oh my god, they're now like adults, you know, like they're not kids. And this is our cat, Olive. I love her. This is my mom, my brother, and my sister. Like the same people who are now adults. And beneath that, you can find my whole family. It was actually the birthday of my sister, and I existed virtually on the phone. These are the group of friends we were at the university. Like, we hang out together most of the time. This is my grandma. She was actually born in Palestine. And that's me. That's like the little baby is me. And my dad holding me. Right there you can find my aunt, the hero of the story, the beginner. She is the one who signed all the paper, who took responsibility for me, and she is actually the reason why I'm standing here. And Jackie, my best friend, I haven't seen her in 5 years. And she's currently now studying in Moscow, which means I cannot travel there because I cannot get a visa. And she also cannot come to Europe because she needs a visa as a Syrian. And yeah, so now we're hoping for a miracle, or at least that I get my citizenship here, so that would mean I can travel to her. Fingers crossed. That up there is my late uncle. He passed away because of cancer 4 years ago. He was too sick to travel, and yeah, I am too stateless to travel. Yeah, and yeah, but I still, it's nice to wake up to these faces, to see them in the morning. This is my roommate, Lara. She was also one of the people who made me feel home here. And we spent a lot of days here, like all the lockdown we had together. It was crazy. That is my name in Arabic. I got that as a gift. The funny thing is, when I received it, I realized I actually missed my name, to hear my name in Arabic, you know? Like, it has been so long since I had someone call me in Arabic. That's one of the things where I feel like, okay, I'm split into half. Not two people, but two souls. One where I feel comfortable here in this country, and I feel like, okay, I belong here, I have my peace here, but the other part of my soul misses stuff like that, miss this being called in my name, just like Farah. Yeah. Do you know what Farah means
No.
in Arabic?
What does it mean?
It means joy. Yes, it's crazy how being stateless, it's not just about papers. It affects so many in your life. It affects your life on friend wise, it affects your life on family wise, it affects your life on love wise, it affects your life on education wise. Just because you have this piece of paper, or more, you don't have this piece of paper, then you're just nothing. And it always goes back to traveling. For example, my uncle, he was really sick. He had cancer, and at that time when we found out, I haven't seen him for I haven't hadn't seen him for 3, 4 years. And he was in Saudi Arabia, and it's not like I could just go to the airport, get into the train and to the plane, and just poof, I'm there. It's not like that. It doesn't exist. I need a lot of paperwork to apply and that, and I know for the stateless Palestinian, it's a no. So I wasn't able to see him, and he died, and I didn't see him. And that's something I'm still angry about, angry and sad, and I feel like I would never forgive whoever did that. But that's the thing. I mean, who's exactly responsible? It's not just one person. It's not just one side. It's so many institutes that are involved with that. And I know it's, for me, it's just like my situation is just, I don't know, 1 or 0.1% of what are people like me having. But this is, for example, something that I'm never gonna get back. I will never ever see him again. And of course he wasn't in shape to be able to travel, so yeah. And I just never saw my uncle, and he died because of a stupid piece of paper. To be honest, I like, despite everything we talked about, all the problems, all the obstacles that come in the way, I still consider myself lucky to have had like the life essentials, you know, like the important things in life: family, house, school, and stuff, you know. And this kind of allowed me to take a, a pause in life. I was able to afford to take a pause in life and to think about, okay, this is the situation I was born into. This is the life, and I have to find a way to get out of it, to change it, to do something. And I think it's something that my family somehow taught me, that everything you might own, everything you might have, could be just lost like that, you know, like as easy as it comes, it could be gone. That made me think about, okay, what I can be sure that I would still have is like what you learn, you know. I decided, okay, I'm going to go abroad. I'm going to get my bachelor degrees there, my master, to work on my situation, you know, like make the, not the job CV, but life CV a little bit better, with the type of the degrees I have, from which universities I have, and blah, blah, blah. And this, like, with the hope that this would change the situation, that I could actually do something. Why I consider myself lucky is because other people may not afford to do that, you know, like to just take this pause and think about their lives and think about, okay, how can I change that? They're stuck in a situation, in a system that they cannot change, something that is making their lives sometimes on a daily basis really miserable. And this makes them go really aggressive, you know, like this start all this problems and aggression in the people, and it just sometimes it escalates really quickly. And so yeah, so you know, like sometimes the system itself, this creates the problem and the people who are causing the problem. And that's what we should focus about.